Welcome back everyone after the break, and welcome to the EV Hackers session. This is the stream where we get to hear all about options for being a bit more self-sufficient with different aspects of electric vehicles, whether it's battery management, accessing good used vehicles, or in the second part of the block, converting to electric. I'm Natalie Bucknell, a broadcaster with Beyond Zero Emissions Science and Solutions radio show and podcast, and I'm your MC for this afternoon in room 2. Looking forward to some more fantastic presentations this afternoon. We're continuing with the format of 3 scintillating presentations, followed by around 20 minutes of Q&A time. So have your questions ready for at the end. Anton Vikstrom is going to start us off. So Anton has a strong background in environmental science and sustainability and runs a busy sustainability education and landscaping business. But he's seen another problem and decided to do something about it, starting the Good Car Company, which facilitates bulk buys of second-hand EVs. Anton's life already looked pretty full, and I wondered how he could add another business to his activities. But I came across this statement on his website, which gives us a bit of insight. It says, "In times of crisis, seemingly impossible ideas suddenly become possible." So here to share his impossible ideas about the EV transition with us, we welcome Anton Vikstrom.
Thank you for such a exciting introduction. It has been a bit of a busy year, and I'm very happy to be here. And we're going to have some great talkers coming up who we've learned and lent on as we've gone through our journey with the Good Car Company, which I started with 2 other co-founders about 2 years ago now. And we all came from environmental backgrounds. We're sitting at the pub thinking about doing an EV conversion, and it came around to, why don't we just get a car that's already been made? It seems simpler. It worked to our strengths. Our strengths are not mechanics, so all power to the people who are good at that. Our resources led us somewhere else. And the problem is we've got a climate crisis, and we've got a decade to reduce emissions by half just to meet Paris Climate Agreement. Now, EVs and renewables go together, and they're 2 bits of tech ready to scale. I'm sure you all know that story. The problem is a recent survey of potential EV owners said that half of them didn't want to pay more than $30,000 for an electric vehicle, and leaves them in a pickle because the new car prices are quite so high. So that led us to start a electric vehicle secondhand market from scratch. There weren't enough used EVs around, and we wanted to make them more available and at a better price. I have not, previous to this, hadn't spent more than $10,000 on a car, and the expectations that there's lots of people ready to drop $80,000 on an EV or $150,000 on an EV is unrealistic, and that's the point we're trying to tackle. This is Rosie Barry, who's our #1 customer. Indeed, she was our first customer. And they bought an EV, and they came from the same ethical standpoint from here. And this market hasn't been serviced by traditional auto manufacturers. They haven't been thinking about people who want to do climate action. That led to this, which is a group of local people in our local community who we have Stuart Barry, who's Rosie's partner. We've got Rebecca Boyle in the pink jacket. She was our second customer buying a car. And at that point, they were organising a bulk buy for us. And this is the power. I think there's a lot of unmet demand for accessing EVs, and we saw that. And we tried to structure a system that managed to share risks, enable scale, enable quality assurance, and make it a much more seamless process than some people may go out there and import a car themselves. There's a lot of pitfalls and a lot of effort that goes into that, and we're trying to make it simpler. How do we do it? Town halls, when we used to be able to do town hall meetings. So this was last year. This year we're doing one in Hobart where it's all virtual with face masks. So how times have changed. We had town hall meetings. We've been doing a really extensive email campaigns with lots of detailed information. So part of an EV uptake is there's model availability, there's charging infrastructure, and there's a whole lot of education about what a car can do. And we need to communicate that information in as many ways as possible. So written, test drives, face-to-face, phone conversations, Zoom calls, whatever method and video content. We're doing all of those, and there's all different ways that we can communicate and connect with people about this message and about what the cars can do and not do. So we have stepping back, we have the 30 kilowatt hour and 24 kilowatt hour Nissan Leaf. So that's in the old build format. And also the 40 and 62 kilowatt hour Leafs, which are the 62s aren't available from Nissan Australia. And neither are the ENV 200 bands. So we've got a couple of extra models that we're bringing into the Australian market, which haven't been serviced by Big Auto. And we take people through a journey. The first step was that familiarisation with the vehicle, how I'm going to charge it, where can I go for it, how can I get it serviced, all of that story. So we worked through that. To be able to enable scale, so the first one involved 24 vehicles being ordered. We talked to our community and they stumped up money to purchase the vehicles upfront cost at auction. We brought them in and then on a final milestone paid the remainder. There's a whole process in there, which is how the sausage is made, which we're taking that responsibility away from people. Some people are into that. A lot of people are just not into dealing with customs agents, export agents, vehicle headset conversions, getting the right charger for their home, all of that process. So we've tried to really bundle that all up and make it a bit more like tracking a parcel from the other side of the planet. We've got very used to that at this point in time. When people are committing, it's an online sales process. This is a form for Hepburn, but pretty much it's a direct sale. And we get to this point, which is really exciting, where this was 4 of our first customers picking up their cars on the one day. So we've got these 4 little nice jelly bean Leafs. And they're zipping around our community now. 24 of those are outside my door, well, not directly, but down the road. And I rarely leave the house without encountering one of the electric cars that we've provided into our community. I no longer leave the house and don't see an electric vehicle. So between ourselves, the amount of Hyundais that are on the road, the amount of Teslas that are on the road, the actual buzz in some locations is completely changing, and that's a really exciting time to be in. We have built a community, and here we've got all of the people back together again at the end of this process, and they've become advocates for our business and this model. And it's really made us incredibly proud to be able to do this with our community. And there's a lovely photo of us having a great time. It's very easy to hire large facilities at the moment. This was in the middle of lockdown, and it's where the cruise ships normally arrive in Hobart. And we managed to get this giant hall very, very easily. So there are some benefits to the COVID pandemic there. So why community bulk buy? The biggest one for it is not price savings, it's about building community and changing the story. We're changing the narrative that this is no longer something which is 10 years away, it's something's now, and it's accessible, and accessible by people who don't have the high incomes. It's accessible by people who live in different areas, and including regional areas, which we're doing bulk buys at the moment. And every time somebody talks to their friends, their family, their work colleagues, it's changing that story. And that's the most powerful thing of the bulk buy approach. The second awesome thing is it influences stakeholders. So all the policymakers out there need demand at the other side of it, and we're creating that. It was really interesting. We put 100 people in a hall, and TasNet wanting to buy an electric vehicle, and TasNetworks, the local network provider, they paid attention, and their vision of what EVs were and where they're going into the grid rapidly changed. And what we're going to see is not an even distribution. There's going to be one EV on each street. We're going to see geographic areas with much greater uptake, and being able to work with network providers, service providers, people who are putting like Electric Highway Tasmania, people who are putting in charging infrastructure, so we can do as much as we can to enable that process. And most importantly, from our perspective, you might not be into the climate story, but I'm really into having a safe climate for my future, let alone my children's future, which is the driving motivation behind our enterprise. Bringing it back, that's what I'm after. Jeremy here, he's participated, and he is probably what would be a classic AEVA member, is he's into the tech story and the satisfaction of purchasing an electric vehicle and driving, knowing what's underneath the hood. You can't get him out from when he takes his car to the mechanics. It's hard to get him out of the way of the mechanic because he wants to service it himself. It's pretty exciting. Other customers have given us great feedback about the process as well. Ashley and Mike, they got an amazing deal, and for the value of the purchase, it was the best thing that they'd ever purchased, which real estate agents have got to pull up their socks. So what do we do that we think is significantly different is we're positioning ourselves to provide a quality product. So quality assurance at the purchase of the vehicle is really important, as well as being able to provide maintenance support and long-term support for cars. As such, we're doing 2-year battery warranties so that there's no excessive degradation, mechanical warranties, and because an EV is such a giant purchase and a big leap for people, we're also doing a 30-day return policy. Nobody's taken that up to this point in time because electric vehicles are awesome, but enabling, if somebody gets a car and goes, actually this range isn't going to do it for me, is trying to de-risk the process. So there's a lot of risks on people adopting EVs, and as many as that we can remove out of the way, the more likely people are going to get into an electric vehicle. And I touched on this before, it's wrapping up a service. So instead of going for the import your own, have to learn an entire process for a thing you'll do once in your life, we bundle that all up. And once again, it'd be really great to hear from EVs Enhanced to provide a lot of the services that enable that to happen, such as headset conversions and battery replacements and so on. The last point is that we have models that are not available in Australia, and we're continually adding extra models onto that. So we're going to be pretty excited to have our first 40 kilowatt hour ENV 200 van coming into Australia early next year, and continually being able to build out the fleet of vehicles we can offer, and once again change the story of what's possible in this space. So if you're interested in taking action, my presentation is going to draw to a close soon, is we don't just do bulk buys. We can sell cars direct to you, and you can look at our website, which is goodcar.co, and download a list of stock that we've got available right now. So also, if you wish to engage on a bulk buy, either participating in one of our existing ones, where we've got ones coming up in ACT, North Sydney, Geelong, Hepburn, Shire and surrounds currently, you can go on our website and log into that. And so finally, I'd just like to thank AEVA and the other presenters for putting on such an awesome day. I haven't been able to check out everything, and I'm really looking forward to diving back into the records that are being kept at these awesome conference. So thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you, Anton, for your great presentation and for your leadership in this area. It's such a big gap in the market, and until we get fleet vehicles working their way through to the second-hand market, this is a real issue for uptake of EVs. So it's brilliant that the Good Car company is taking up that cause.